It was back, I don't know, somewhere around the time when our church had a split, and I was up on, I think it was Double Island or Fraser, I'm not sure, with Pastor Brad Smith, and he had put out a document about that time on dealing with sin. And I wrote, he gave it to me to have a read of, and it was filthy weather. So we were all confined to the tent. I was in the tent by myself for this time. I think the family were coming up later or something. Maybe not. They might have been all at home. I don't know. But the point was that I had a lot of time to read this document, and the framework of my mind was he's just trying to bend the rules so he can get people back into fellowship. You know, it was a pretty warped sort of view of what he was actually trying to do. Because when I read this document, I read it, and there was a few scriptures. Romans 7 was in there, and anyway, I had a real problem. The real problem was my testimony was a real problem, because Julie and I got married, and about a year in, I remember the first anniversary we ever had. We went up the North Shore there, over, it's a barge, isn't it, to get across, Koroiba. So we were over there, and anyway, we just couldn't get on, to the point that we said, what are we doing? Let's just go to youth group. So we came back to the coast and went to youth group, because that was, the only place where we could sort of, enjoy things, in the youth group setting. And so we would argue, and that the sort of the state of things was that if I misbehaved by arguing with her, I had so much condemnation that I would hang my head. I wouldn't use the gifts. I wouldn't, sort of do much. I'd just sort of like, I've got to, cop a punishment. And I would, after about 2 weeks, I'd sort of think, I think I've done my time. I feel a little better. I'm going to start off, getting into it again and so forth. Anyway, I read this document in the tent, it's raining, horrible. It's got to the night time, and I'm still by myself, reading. And I went out on the dunes, because it started to dawn on me that I had it all wrong. And that, I thought maybe if God was merciful, by the skin of my teeth, I might make it. I might be with him. But I was reading this with it really helped. I was reading that Romans 7 and going, oh my goodness, that's me by the law. Every commandment would slay me. I was dying by the commandment. Don't argue with your wife. Don't be a bad testimony. Don't, When I saw that Jesus Christ was delivering me, that this wretched man was delivered, that I was to reckon myself dead to sin. As I say, this is the tip or the beginning of understanding for me, because I still suffered for another whatever. I guess it's probably 23 years after that. I suffered still with problems, just still testimony, frustrations, and things. But that grows. It grows so much. Just the word, understanding it, and it should be something that we really grab onto. That's why I really felt compelled to say it. Like more than conquerors, through him that loved us first. He has put a death to sin. The worst movie that you can ever watch is Titanic, in my opinion. Right, but there's a scene there, I think it's Titanic, one of those scenes where for some reason there's like, I don't even know what it is, but there's sort of explosions like fireworks or something going on. It must be a boat exploding or something. But yeah, and there's like, I think it's Kate Winslet and that other fella, Leonardo, looking into each other's eyes. But it's all this love stuff. And seriously, when I was out in the dunes, wherever it was, Double Island, I think, and I was with the Lord, and I came to that understanding, I realised that that's where I was with him. And the joy that overtook my heart in that was incredible, that I was going to make it. That this arguing with my wife wasn't a problem. So I went back and I just got home and just had a go at her, and really, no, I didn't. I just found that it wasn't a problem anymore. And the testimony is that our marriage didn't have any problems anymore, because that was the joy of it. But that was only, as I say, the tip of it. It had to go through everything. You know, finally at work, it's like amazing. It's like my workmate came to me yesterday and goes, "So, how you going?" You know, I said, "Real good." And he goes, "Oh man, oh." You know, because he thought that I'd be really stewing over what had happened at work. There was a situation that sort of was a no-win situation. Anyway, I'm going off the point, but the point is that it's just not a problem. It doesn't matter what happens. Like, we are more than conquerors through him that loved us. He has really put a death to sin, and the more that we understand it, the more that we're free from it. Like, he's dead, it's free. That's what that whole Romans 7's about. You got a death of one, so you're no longer captive by it. Because every time you get that commandment in, it says something that it's like sin revives and you die. And it's good to die, but to be resurrected power to live through him. And I think that's all I wanted to say, that it was good. That was, I really felt more than a conqueror in that, and that is been growing in me, and I like it. Anyway, amen.